an MLP version of A Christmas Carol, with familiar faces everyone loves as the main characters of the story.
Sorry, Viva, I'm a Toon Link. You got Charlie Brown and the Grinch, but looks like Hasbro beat you to the punch on this one. I'm Finn the Pony, and it's time for Finn Bits. I'm just going to say right now that I absolutely adore A Christmas Carol. In my opinion, it is one of the best Christmas stories ever told. The Charles Dickens tale of how a miserly old man learns about the joy of Christmas with the help of 3 magical spirits has become a major staple of the holiday season, and is truly a timeless tale no matter how many times it's told. And trust me, it has been told a lot. And with franchises such as Mickey Mouse and the Muppets giving us spectacular versions with their beloved characters, it was only a matter of time before MLP gave it a shot. I can't say I expected this to happen in the middle of May when it's not even close to Christmas yet, but hey, it matters not the season, but how well the story's told. So, was it told well? Let's take a look. We begin on a cheerful little heartwarming Eve carol as every pony gets into the holiday spirit. They're all enjoying the festivities and having a gay old time. That is except for Starlight Glimmer, who sees heartwarming as nothing but a shallow holiday which has lost its true meaning and decides to just skip it altogether. So to shed a little light on the subject, Twilight reads her the story of A Heart's-Warming Tale. And from that point on, if you know Christmas Carol, you know exactly what's gonna happen. A grouchy old fart called Snowfall Frost is fed up with Heart's-Warming Eve, and after sending her assistant Snow Dash home for the evening, she brews up a spell that will apparently get rid of Heart's-Warming forever. But before she can put this plan into action, she is visited by 3 spirits, which show her visions of her tragic past, the current events of the present, and what the world could be like in the future if she should choose to carry out her plan. By the end, she learns the true meaning of heartwarming and vows to change her ways. The spirits give her a second chance, and she celebrates her first Heart's-Warming Eve in years. After the story's over, we get a reprise of the opening number as we see Starlight finally enjoying the holiday season with all of the friends she holds dear. Whenever a show does a retelling of a well-known story, the first thing I'd like to look at is who the writers casted to play each character. Since this story is meant to change Starlight's point of view, of course she plays the role of Snowfall Frost, which is this story's Ebenezer Scrooge. Considering she's been an antagonist before, and a really interesting one at that, she fit this part perfectly. In addition, you've got Applejack as the spirit of the past, with her special mix of sympathy and motherly wisdom, Pinky as the spirit of the present, which is pretty much a natural fit for her bouncy jolly self, and Princess Luna, believe it or not, as a pretty intimidating spirit of the future. I'll admit that Rainbow Dash as this story's version of Bob Cratchit seemed a bit odd to me at first, but in the end she actually wound up being a pretty awesome incarnation with some really funny moments. Overall, the casting choices made here are about as spot on as you can get. And of course, we can't forget the thing that becomes clear less than 15 seconds in with the opening number. This episode is a musical. Considering the songs make up 70% of the episode, I like to look at each song individually and think to myself, after this episode's over, is this gonna stick out in my mind? Well, Heart's-Warming Eve is here once again as your typical holly jolly holiday carol, which is not only fun to sing along to, but is a great way to open and close the episode. Say Goodbye to the Holiday was alright in the lyrics department, but what really stole the show was Starlight's amazing singing and the visuals that accompanied the number. Starlight just has this beautifully menacing voice that works perfectly for villain songs. Seeds of the Past was just all around good, with a catchy melody, very heartfelt lyrics, and Applejack's lovely voice conveying the message of how events of one's past can affect the future more than you think. Pinky's Present is easily the best song in the episode. Maybe I just have a soft spot for fun peppy tunes, but everything from the joy-filled lyrics to the incredibly catchy beat pretty much had me hooked from the start. The only one that didn't do much for me was Luna's Future. It gave off a threatening vibe which set the scene well, but neither the words nor the music really stuck out that much. It's a shame too, since this is Luna's first solo number. Oh well. As a whole, if we're talking about songs only, I'd say this is the second best musical episode to date, right behind Magical Mystery Cure. The animation in this episode I can only describe as grand. Fluid movements, bright vibrant colors, and such a massive scale to everything. Whether the special wants you to feel a loving sense of community or a helpless feeling of abandonment, the animation does its job well. The happy scenes have colors and movements that just pop off the screen, and the more quiet moments take things slower and allow what's on screen to sink in. And as you would expect, the most well-animated portions of this episode are the musical numbers, each one given a tone and vibe that suits the music and the characters singing flawlessly. You can feel that they put effort into this and didn't want the visuals to just be a throwaway, and it really does show. But since I'm a person who holds A Christmas Carol very close to my heart, what really matters to me is the story. Did this version do the classic justice while at the same time having some unique spins to make it stand out? As far as loyalty to source material goes, they did follow just about all of the story's main plot points. You've got your greedy, grouchy protagonist who hates the holidays, a visit from 3 spirits, each representing a different time period, and a heartwarming conclusion where the protagonist learns the error of his ways. But they did add a few changes here and there, and I felt they were very hit and miss. I did really enjoy their twist on Scrooge, where instead of someone consumed by greed, it's someone consumed by perfectionism. She feels that holiday merriment is just a waste of time that ponies could spend working hard for the betterment of themselves and civilization. Not to mention that they even sprinkled a little bit of How the Grinch Stole Christmas in there, where Snowfall has a master plan to eliminate the holiday she loathes forever. Pretty nice touches. But then there are the differences I didn't like, such as some characters getting cut from the tale completely. For example, there's no ghost of Jacob Marley in this one, which means there's no presence that initially fills Scrooge with fear and shows him what he could become if he doesn't listen to the words of the spirits. And no Tiny Tim, come on, his passing was the final nail in the coffin which changed Scrooge's heart in many of the versions. Here, the ghost of Luna Future shows him that the world will be buried in eternal winter because of the Wendigos, but considering that we see no one suffering and just buildings buried under mounds of snow, I don't feel as much emotion as I did with Tim's death in the original version. Even if you wanted me to assume that everyone is dead, I always feel it's better if you show, don't tell. Honestly, aside from a few little tweaks here and there, this version doesn't really distinguish itself enough from the rest. Even the fact that it's animated isn't really new, since Disney's already done that twice over, with one of those versions being one of the absolute best in my opinion. But even though it doesn't stick out from the crowd that much, it was a really enjoyable episode overall. It had great music, it had a good story, the pony portrayals of timeless characters fit like a glove, and even though it wasn't even close to December when I first saw it, it made me feel just as warm and cozy inside as I do around Christmas time. It's nowhere near the definitive version of the tale, but for what it's worth, it made me smile and put me in a good mood, which is always a good quality for any holiday special to have. I'm not sure if the MLP writing staff have plans to do any more retellings of classic stories, but I could certainly say I'd be on board for it. As long as the characters stay in character and the original isn't crapped on in any way, I think it could make for some pretty enjoyable episodes. Hell, the fanbase has even done that quite a few times. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the writers have in store for us. But until then, I found myself a new MLP holiday classic. I'm likely going to watch it again when the holidays finally roll around. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed my quick little playthrough of this episode, and feel free to tell me what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Did you enjoy this retelling as much as I did? What other nostalgic stories do you think would make for good MLP episodes? I got 2 words for you. Willy Wonka. It's been done well in other shows, and I think it would be a prime pick for an MLP remake. You'll thank me later. Thanks for playing along with me. I'm Finn the Pony, and I'll see you all next time on Finn.